Good evening from this port city of Kisumu. Once again, I come to you, dear Kenyans, to remind you that Kenya is too good to go down. But I feel disturbed when I listen to our leaders. Only yesterday, from the President of the Republic of Kenya, wembe ni ule ule, that Raila should prepare his head for shaving, that nitakunyorosha 2027, that I dealt with you asubuhi na mapema, early in the morning. I dealt with you. And from Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President, ule mzee awache kucheza. Nindi Nyoro, Kimani Ichung'wah and I, Rigathi Gachagua, sons of Mau Mau. My heart goes out to this country. From the little I understand about statecraft and the management of public affairs and the running of nations and countries and kingdoms, those in power are always called upon and advised to be humble. Winston Churchill required of the victor to be magnanimous, and for good reason. A kingdom where half the population is seething with anger, boiling inside, will soon crumble. History has shown us. From Raila Odinga, the clergy's attempt is dismissed. That they are looking for justice. They are looking for the truth, and the truth shall set people free. I stand here in this city of Kisumu, talking to the people of this country. Raila is not very far from here, I understand. So is the President, William Ruto. These two leaders, I implore them that this country is too good to go down. Many people stop me these days wanting to find out what I mean by Kenya is too good to go down. I tell them just exactly that. Some people think, on behalf of some people, I'm looking for handshake. Some people think I'm scaring people, selling fear. Today, dear Kenyans, I want to tell you I'm just sharing with you what is from my heart. Because I just have love for this country. I want to inform us that Kenya is too good to go down. But I also want to add that going down is not very difficult. Sometimes back, there was violence. I can't remember when that was. I think the post-election violence of 2007, I'm not quite sure. A GSU, a young GS officer, was caught on camera telling a crowd, reasoning. The GSU rarely reason with the crowd. They are not even like the police. They never talk. This young GSU officer was talking with the crowd, pleading with them, and telling them in Kiswahili, hii nchi tumejenga kwa siku nyingi, tunaweza kuibomoa na siku moja. That clip did rounds, and many people agreed with that GSU officer that this country will struggle so hard to put together, so hard to bring it where it is. This country is not where I want it to be. But even where this country is, it is still too good to go down. And bringing a country like this down, dear Kenyans, will be tragic. It will be bad. Yet it is not difficult. Some people think it is difficult. I want to repeat what I've said before. That countries around us and across the world have gone down for much less than what we are going through today. Much less. I want also to say this without having to scare anybody. I have interacted with refugees, and I know what it means to be a refugee, what it means to be in exile. I've interacted with this situation in literature, in really life. Anybody who is not in their country, not out of their own wish, but because they had to leave their country for their security, for their safety, when they see us playing around with our country, they sympathize with us. I want to share with you something. In 1982, I was a young man. There was an attempted coup in this country. There were so many Ugandans in this country that time. You know what the Ugandans told us? Sasa mtaona. Mulikuwa mnatuchekelea mtaona. We were all so happy and grateful when the coup failed. But the Ugandans had passed the message that you've been taking so much for granted. Now you will see. I want to go down on record as one of the Kenyans who pleaded with his fellow countrymen not to lose this thing, because as the saying goes, you never quite know what you have until you lose it. There is still time for Raila Odinga and William Ruto to talk. Not to take Kenyans through the demonstrations, through the possible destruction, loss of lives, injuries, destruction of property. There is still time to avoid that. I plead with Rigathi Gachagua, Mau Mau or no Mau Mau, to be humble and to accept that things can easily get out of control. But we must also be realistic as we tell Rigathi Gachagua, William Ruto and Raila Odinga that we all saw what happened on Monday. If you think nothing happened on Monday, ask business people, ask investors. On that one Monday, in a couple of hours, in a matter of hours, many jobs had been thrown out of the window. Many people making investment decisions in Tokyo, New York, London, in Nairobi, to invest or to increase their investment, pulled back. You don't need to do any research. Every country is continuously being scored by international lenders, partners, and business people. They are continuously scoring countries and trying to establish safe places in which to take investment. You are struck of the list of safe investment destinations in the world. It may take you another 10 years to get back the list. And with that, many jobs are lost. I want to end up by saying this. If another Monday happens on Monday, if the demonstrations half succeed, if they succeed 50% of what we saw on Monday, this country will be headed to trouble. It will embolden the demonstrators, because we already saw what happened. We saw policemen running away and jumping the wall. We saw a young girl facing police and telling them off until the policeman walked off. We saw young men walking into the flood of water cannons and tear gas, throwing back. We don't want to embolden the citizens of our country to a point where they can disregard law and order, to a point where the citizen can confront the police. We are treading on dangerous grounds. Let's not drive the country to a point where people will not fear the police. Other countries have been there. We know the consequences. I also fear that if Monday succeeds by 50%, soon the crowds will be beyond Raila Odinga. And when that time comes, when Raila will say, next Maandamano is 2 weeks from now, and the people will tell him, go home, and they will continue demonstrating, that will be the end of this country as we know it. And therefore that bravado from all the parties, from all the people concerned, forget about that bravado. You may be son of a Mau Mau, but remember, Mau Mau people fought with crude weapons against people who had guns, but they had a determination to free this country. What is your determination today? The people you think will be on your side are dying from hunger, school fees. Prices of things continue to rise. Currently, electricity going up by 3%. Many parents with children at home are unable to take them to school. When you have a population of people so hungry and so angry, you don't want to allow demonstrations next to you. But the worst bit is that in controlling the demonstrations, the government is forced to unleash the police against their own children, against their own brothers and sisters, against their own fathers and mothers. And that is not a good thing. Government should not take the instruments of violence and turn against its own people. Today, there are many people who are asking why release so many police in the streets of Nairobi and Kisumu and Migori and elsewhere, Kitale. When people are being killed in the North Rift, in the 6 bandit-prone areas, the government must stop playing tough. Because as I wind up, I remind the government, long gone are the days when force worked. There isn't a single country in the world today where force can be applied on the citizens and it works. And even when government appears to have won, it is very temporal. So long as you have millions of people who go to bed hungry, millions of young men and women not employed, so long as the prices of commodities keep going up, so long as the interventions you give, including fertilizer that appears to be fake, so long as there is insensitivity in newspapers carrying headlines saying 800 million to buy cars from Mudavadi, Ruto and Gachagua, so long as you hire 50 cars, assistant ministers, when millions of young men don't have jobs, so long as all these bad things are happening, government is well advised to know that the use of force is just limited. It cannot take you far. My final appeal, therefore, to our leaders in this country is to find it in their hearts to spare some time, some thoughts for this country, and get together and sit down. The things that divide people are always much less and much fewer than the things that unite them. What makes us Kenyans is much more than the little things that Raila is talking about. The magnitude of the things Raila is talking about may be high, including a stolen election, and the need to once and for all sort out our election matters, because if we don't, we leave our children a very bad country. The need to constitute an impartial IBC. The need to lower the cost of living. All these things are important, but they cannot be the same thing that we can use to divide us as people. The issues are important, yes, but we cannot use those to divide the country and to make the country go down. Because this country, ladies and gentlemen, this country is too good to go down. I ask our leaders and all Kenyans to do everything within their power to leave this country a good place for their children.